Split system heat pump water heater installation. Installation by HVAC students of Center for Employment Training. This is a heat pump water heater by Logicial. And this is the Omni series, and it allows endless hot water and energy savings with their eco-efficient water heaters. Heat pump water heaters, also known as hybrid water heaters, are 2 to 3 times more energy efficient than their gas variants. They provide long-term cost savings and have a smaller environmental impact, making them a great choice for saving energy and reducing your carbon footprint. This installation video will guide you through the process of installing the water heater. Before you begin, always refer to the manual for the most accurate installation instructions. The manual is included with the packaging, but it can also be found on ecological.com. When installing this unit, always refer to the manual and pay attention to these symbols, as they contain important information about potential safety risks. Some safety risks are as follows. Electric shock risk. Contact with electrical components in the junction box, behind the access doors, or inside the top shroud can cause severe injury or death. Always disconnect power at the circuit breaker, and verify that it is off before performing any work. Keep the junction box closed at all times when it is not being worked on. Lifting risk. Heat pump water heaters are heavy and awkward to handle. Always use at least 2 people with a secure grip when lifting the unit. Use a dolly when moving it, and keep the heater upright. Do not tilt it more than 15 degrees to avoid damaging internal components. Scalding risk. Water temperatures above 125 degrees F, 52 degrees C, can cause severe burns or even death in a very short time. To reduce the risk of scalding, install thermostatic mixing valves or temperature limiting valves at each point of use. These devices automatically blend hot and cold water to maintain a safe outlet temperature and provide consistent protection at the tap. For personal protective equipment, it is recommended to use safety glasses to protect your eyes from debris or refrigerant splashes. Work gloves to protect your hands and improve grip when handling the unit, and steel-toe shoes to guard against heavy components. Use a dust mask if needed to avoid inhaling dust or insulation fibers, a hard hat in areas with overhead hazards, and knee pads for comfort and protection when working at floor level. And now for the tools you will need to complete this installation. For basic hand tools, you will need insulated screwdrivers, both flathead and Phillips, for safe electrical work. A tape measure for accurate measurements, a Sharpie for marking, and an adjustable torque wrench to properly tighten refrigerant line connections. For electrical tasks, use a multimeter to test voltage and ensure power is off. Wire strippers for preparing wires. Electrical connectors for secure joins. An impact driver or drill for mounting. Fish tape for pulling wires through walls. And hole saws for creating openings. For plumbing, you will need copper cutters for cutting 3/4 inch piping, a deburring tool to smooth pipe edges, Teflon tape for leak-free threaded connections, and a drain hose to safely remove water from the old tank. For water line connections, use 3/4 inch copper piping with dielectric unions to prevent corrosion. Along with the 3/4 inch copper piping, shark bite fittings were used for their ease of installation, versatility in tight spaces, and overall convenience. The fittings used are all 3/4 inch in size and include 90-degree elbows, male adapters, and female adapters. Now that we have our tools ready and have reviewed all necessary precautions, it's time to proceed with the installation. Before installing the new ecological heat pump water heater, the old water heater must be decommissioned. If no water heater is present, or it has already been decommissioned, you may skip this step. Step 1. Shut off all water supplies. This prevents water from flowing into the system while you disconnect the unit, reducing the risk of flooding or water damage. Step 2. Ensure power is off. As a safety precaution, turn off power to the unit and verify it with a multimeter. Proper electrical safety is essential because you will be working with high voltage connections and specialized tools. Step 3. Shut off gas and water lines. Turning off the gas and water supplies prevents leaks or accidental release of gas, which could be hazardous, and stops water from entering the tank during removal. Step 4. Drain residual water from the tank. Draining the tank prevents spills and reduces the weight of the unit, making it safer and easier to remove. Step 5. Disconnect water and gas lines. This allows the tank to be safely separated from the plumbing system so it can be removed without damaging pipes or fittings. Step 6. Remove the tank. Always use at least 2 people to lift and carry the water heater. This prevents injury and reduces the risk of damaging the tank or surrounding components. Now let's begin the installation. The list of items needed to complete the installation of this unit is as follows. You will need the heat pump outdoor unit, which provides the heat for the system. You will need the water tank, which stores the heated water. You will also need the refrigerant connection tube, which carries the refrigerant between the units. A wired controller is required to set temperatures and operating modes. A temperature and pressure relief valve must be installed for safety. A drain valve is needed for draining and maintenance. A thermostatic mixing valve is required to prevent scalding by mixing hot and cold water. And finally, the gray insulating sleeve is used to reduce heat loss on exposed lines. Here are some things to keep in mind before continuing with the installation. The area around the outdoor unit's air inlet and outlet must be kept clear of obstacles and strong winds. Adequate airflow is essential for efficient heat exchange and overall system performance. Ensure the base surface is flat, level, and capable of supporting the combined weight of the heat pump and the water tank. If there are any nearby metal components, install durable, reusable electrical insulation that meets all applicable local electrical codes. This helps prevent accidental contact, corrosion, and potential electrical hazards. Caution: the ambient air temperature during installation must be above 15 degrees F and below 110 degrees F to ensure safe operation and accurate system testing. The unit must be mounted securely and on a stable surface. Improper installation can lead to excessive vibration, operational noise, and premature wear on internal components. The next step in the process is site preparation and placement of the ecological split system heat pump water heater. First, we will position the condenser pad in the location where the outdoor unit will be installed. Once the pad is set, place the outdoor heat pump unit on top of it. Make sure to follow the placement guidelines in the manual to ensure proper airflow and easy maintenance. The clearance between the unit and the side wall should be more than 5.5 inches. The clearance from the back wall should be more than 6 inches to allow room for the refrigerant lines and electrical wiring. Next, we will set the water heater tank. Before placing the tank, install the drain pan in the desired location. Once the drain pan is in place, position the water heater tank on top of it. Although this water heater can be installed with zero clearance, it is recommended to leave some working space for future maintenance. After that, identify the best location to route the wiring and, if needed, drill the appropriate hole. Once the openings for the refrigerant line set are prepared, we can begin routing the line sets through the designated path. Next, we will connect the refrigerant line sets for the split system heat pump water heater. Start by attaching the line sets to the outdoor heat pump unit. Keep the line ends clean to prevent debris or moisture from entering the system. Then connect the matching line sets to the indoor water heater unit, completing the refrigeration loop. Use an adjustable torque wrench to tighten all flare nuts to 25 to 30 Newton meters. This ensures a proper seal, preventing leaks from under-torquing and avoiding damage from over-torquing. Once everything is torqued correctly, the refrigerant lines are fully installed. Be sure to install earthquake or safety straps according to your area codes. Now it's time to connect power to the system. Before doing any electrical work, always verify that power to the main junction box is completely shut off. This is essential for preventing electrical shock or equipment damage. Next, remove the appropriate knockouts on the outdoor heat pump unit and attach the electrical whip. The correct knockout ensures a secure, protected entry point for the wiring and helps prevent strain or moisture intrusion. Run the electrical lines from the junction box to the outdoor condensing unit, making sure the conductors are properly rated and installed according to local electrical codes. Secure all connections, including the ground wire, to ensure safe and stable operation. After the outdoor unit is wired, run the low voltage control wire to the indoor water heater. These control leads power the interface screen and allow communication between the indoor and outdoor units. Connect them according to the manufacturer's wiring diagram to ensure proper system operation. Throughout the process, follow standard electrical safety practices, use insulated tools, avoid wet surfaces, and always confirm circuits are de-energized before working. Once wiring is complete, the electrical portion of the installation is ready for inspection and startup. Now it's time to install the plumbing that supplies water to the heat pump water heater. The main objective in this step is to route cold water from the source to the unit's cold water inlet. Depending on the layout of the space, you may need to be creative with how the piping is arranged. In our setup, we begin by running a cold water line from the source to the expansion tank. If you haven't done so already, set expansion tank to match static water pressure. Ideally, 50 to 80 psi. The expansion tank is important because it absorbs the additional volume created when water heats and expands. This helps prevent excessive pressure from building inside the system from the expansion tank. We use a series of 90-degree shark bite elbow fittings to route the piping downward toward the cold water inlet on the tank. Once the line is positioned, we use female shark bite fittings to make the final connection to the cold water inlet. Next, we install a shark bite T-fitting so we can supply cold water to the thermostatic mixing valve. The mixing valve is a safety device that blends hot and cold water to reduce the risk of scalding. That completes the cold water supply side. For the hot water outlet, we attach a female fitting to the tank's hot water port, then use an elbow to route the line downward to the other side of the thermostatic mixing valve. At this point, the hot and cold water piping join together at the valve. We solder and sweat the copper piping to create a secure, leak-free connection. One important thing before you sweat the pipe is to remove the rubber gasket that sits inside the connections of the mixing valve. Without removing them, you risk damaging the gaskets with the heat from a torch. Place them back in after you have sweat the pipe and it has cooled down. The mixed water outlet from the valve can then be routed to the home's hot water distribution system. Lastly, we install the piping for the temperature and pressure relief valve, also known as the T and P valve. This valve is a critical safety component that releases pressure if the tank ever overheats or becomes overpressurized. The discharge line is run from the T and P valve down to the drain pan so it can safely direct any released water away from the unit. Once all components are installed and you have followed the manual and all safety steps carefully, you can now prepare to power on the unit. As an important precaution, make sure the water tank is completely filled before turning on the system. Powering the unit without water in the tank can cause serious damage. After the tank is full, you can turn on the system by selecting your desired operating mode and pressing the power button located at the bottom right of the control panel. The unit will begin heating, and you can monitor the temperature as it rises to your set point. This concludes the installation of the Logicial heat pump water heater. This installation was performed by the HVAC students of Center for Employment Training. Thank you for watching.